Welcome back to Social Media for News Organizations. This is Dr. T to talk about the future, and more specifically, the future of social media. It's not going away. It's not a fad, and those that decide to dismiss it are going to dismiss it, probably for the rest of their lives. But it is a great tool, especially for journalists and for members of news organizations. So the question that we have to ask is, are the platforms that are here today going to be here forever? Well, it's hard to say, at least for the really big ones like Facebook. They just have so much power right now, and even in light of the scandals surrounding privacy and things that have happened lately, they just seem to rebrand and manage the fallout just like any other big business. They have over 1 billion users, and all of the photos and other things and connections on there make it difficult for people who have profiles to get rid of them. They don't want to lose those photos. They don't want to lose those connections. We really seem to be invested in Facebook, but things do change. I mean, we started out with Friendster and MySpace, and they were pretty much destroyed by Facebook. But looking at recent statistics, it does seem like younger generations, your generation, people, they seem to be losing interest in Facebook and spending more time on Instagram and Snapchat. But they're being replaced by the older generations who are late to the party, if you will, and are just joining Facebook now. I'm sure you have grandma and maybe even mom and dad who have joined Facebook at this point, and they're not letting it go. I guess it could go away, but it would take a really, really, really long time. So how about Pinterest? Well, not everyone uses Pinterest, but those that do really seem to like it and use it quite a bit. This is an example of social media that doesn't really seem to have much of an application to news. There are news organizations that have Pinterest accounts, and they post recipes and other ideas on there for things to do around the house, that kind of stuff, but morning shows and things like that. But when it comes down to the nuts and bolts of news, it's a difficult space to find a true purpose. But that's one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about it. It's a type of platform that if you were to consider things and try to figure out a way to use them effectively, it may just serve you well when the next thing comes along. You just may be the person that figures out how to effectively tell stories in that space and put your mark out there. And what about Twitter? Well, they've had their ups and downs, especially since they went public, but it's still pretty strong, and specifically in the news sharing space. Whether it's hard news, sports news, entertainment news, it's an open and public platform that allows us to see what everyone is saying. And it also makes things really, really easy by following hashtags during breaking news events. And it's not a walled-off garden the way that Facebook and Instagram are. You can see every single person. You don't have to like them or follow them or be connected to them in some way to see what they're saying. Oh, poor Google+. If you've never used it or even heard of it, you're not alone. It never really caught on. Even though Google is this huge company, they basically decided to cannibalize their own product. They kept some of the parts and got rid of others. They kept Hangouts, which actually started with Google+. But it used to be a one-stop social media platform that attempted to do kind of what Facebook and Twitter do. And now it's not really there, so we don't think much about it. But let's be honest, Google is so big and powerful and prevalent that I don't know if you can ever disregard what they try to do or what they might try to bring back. So where is it going? If they're not going to go away, what's going to happen with these social media platforms? Well, they're going to stick around, and they're going to stick around in different ways and in different formats. We have wearables, of course. The first couple of generations of watches were pretty simple, but now we have smart clothes, glasses, shoes, a whole bunch of different things that are meant to make our lives easier and allow us to interact with people and things around us. It's a pretty interesting concept, especially when you consider the opportunity to crowdsource information from people who are wearing those things. Things are definitely going to be changing, but the networks that we are a part of will continue. Heck, we may even get to the point where we will start interacting with the world through virtual reality, like movies that you may have seen. I think the biggest change is the fact that experiences are going to improve. As mobile phones become more powerful and traditional media companies don't keep up, you'll see other social media taking lead and putting their mark on the world. as a journalist, that just makes it that much more important that we have our content out there, that we are involved in those social media, and that we are establishing ourselves as a reliable source of information. So the big takeaways here are the fact that social media is here to stay. People are used to using these networks now. We want to be relevant, so we can't ignore what's going on social media. Mobile has to be done well. Most social media is mobile, so really focus on doing that well, because even if a specific platform disappears, you are going to be someone that people trust and can rely on for good quality information, and you know how to work with mobile. We are pretty invested in the services that are out there now, but even if a platform does go away, your community is made up of people who will stay with you as a journalist. They'll notice you, they'll recognize you are someone that they can trust, and they'll follow you from whatever it is to whatever's next. But that being said, journalists need to experiment. You can't wait and see whether something's going to be big. By then, it's too late. You need to be out there. You need to be trying different things and pushing the envelope. Be the one in your company or on your team who gets it, who understands the importance of playing with things and gets their fingers dirty and their hands dirty as they kind of try and figure stuff out. Well, that's it for the lessons that we are going to be covering in this class. Go take the final quiz. I really hope you've learned something from this class. And let me know if you have any suggestions on things I can do to improve.